Rise and shine. Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. I am Donovin Darius, former 10-year NFL player, professional life strategist, performance coach, author, and your motivator here on this social media. Just wanted to welcome you guys this morning on this Sunday morning for this Sunday morning inspiration. This morning, every week I come on and I share some words of wisdom. Here's my premise and here's my promise. I will never tell you what to do. I'll never tell you what to think, and I'll never tell you what to believe. But here's what I will do. I will share a perspective with you. And as I share this perspective with you, hopefully you receive something, you get something out of it, you hear something that encourages you, that helps you as you're walking out your life. You see, our life, in our lives, there are no duplications of lives. There are no individuals that are exactly the same. But the only thing we can be is we can be imitations. And so that's what we find in our life. That's what we find around everywhere we turn. There's constantly people trying to imitate others. They see what other people are doing, they try to do the same thing. Well, how many of you guys know, without authenticity, without you understanding who you are, whose you are, what you're here to do, why you're here to do it, and how you can get it done the best way you can, without that, you'll just live a life basically it's like running the rat race. Feel like you're always taking one step forward and two steps backwards. It seems like you can never get there. And so it's the same thing in our spiritual life. And so today, this morning, I want to introduce you and I want to share a message on how to develop or how to strengthen your relationship with God. How to develop or how to strengthen your relationship with God. And before I get into the message, I got to give a little premise. I got to back it up so I can let you know what my background was into why it is that I'm doing this message, why it is that I'm coming before you with this type of message. Well, first of all, growing up in Camden, New Jersey, my mom had 5 kids, and we all grew up, and I used to say we had a drug problem because every Tuesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, my mom drug us to church, and it wasn't really something that we wanted to do. Of course, as kids, you wanted to stay home, and you didn't want to go to church. You wanted to play outside. You wanted to do whatever you could beyond just going to church. And so going to church and my upbringing with church was this. I saw my mom, who was someone who she dealt with the pressures of life. She dealt with the pressures of raising children, her health, mental, emotional, and everything. In her best effort, she felt like she needed help. And in trying to get needing help and trying to raise us in the inner city of Camden, New Jersey, she went to church and she found her faith. She found her peace. She found her solace, her guidance by going to church. She found it in reading the Bible. You see, and so, but for me as a child, going to church over and over and over, not really understanding the relationship that comes with having a relationship with God. But going to church over and over and over, I got introduced to a lot of the rules that come with going to church. Some of you guys may relate. You could, for females, you couldn't wear pants. Okay, you couldn't wear makeup. You couldn't wear earrings. Okay, for the guys, at first, you couldn't play sports. You couldn't do this. If you went skating, if you listened to different music, all these different things. If you did all these different things, you felt condemned. You felt guilty. You felt, wait a minute. If this is the way to get to God, then this, number one, ain't fun. Number two, I'm always going to be wrong because why do I have a desire to do something that everything that I look at seems like it's a negative? Everything I look at that I don't see how it's so bad, it just seems like it's a negative. And so here's what happens, and here's what I want you to always remember. Rules without relationship, religion without relationship equals rebellion. Religion without relationship equals rebellion. So that means that if you are in your best efforts trying to establish a relationship in your spiritual development with a God that you can't see, then what happens if you don't understand a true relationship, if you don't understand what that relationship is built in, is that relationship built in rules and regulations that you have to keep, or is that relationship built in the fact of an acceptance, a sense of belonging? Because I know for me growing up, and very much a lot of you guys too, at least what I hear no matter where I go, is that people were brought up looking at religion, looking at a relationship with God as just a religion. A bunch of hoops they got to jump through. You know, every time you turn on the TV, you turn on the radio, you turn on this, you turn on that, people always got something to say to you about how you're not right. And so the message of today, and I want to kind of share some personal things and a couple words from scriptures to let you know, how do I grow? How do I develop this relationship with God? And then how do I strengthen it as well? And so again, as I thought about this message today, as I reflected about it, I said, you know what type of individuals are going to be watching this message? And I put it out there for individuals who have a religious background, are faith-based, aren't faith-based. It really doesn't matter. Because I want to break it down in some simple forms for us to understand and talk about today that really makes sense as we move forward. So here's one of the most common things that I help to relate to when we're talking about this relationship with God. Think about it as a manufacturer. Think about it as a manufacturer and a product. Okay? Watch this. This very phone or very computer or whatever that you're watching me on, it has a manufacturer. Let's just say you have an iPhone. Okay? Apple made the product. Apple is the manufacturer. Okay, in the mind of Steve Jobs and all the manufacturers, the one who designed it, they knew exactly what they wanted out of that iPhone. They knew exactly. They started with a mission statement. They started with a purpose. They actually built into it. They had meetings. They talked about it. They discussed it. They did all this stuff to make this iPhone. They knew what the end user was going to experience. They actually said, you know what, this is so complicated and this thing has so much potential that we need to create a book, we need to create a manual, we need to create something that's going to help individuals that use it understand how to best use it. And so what did they do? They created a manual. And so Apple, Steve Jobs, and all of them, when they think about with the iPhone as a manufacturer, they created this in a lab. They made it. They put it together. Every piece had a purpose to it. Everything about it. There was no accidents with it. Everything had a purpose to it. And so next thing what they did, after they put it all together, they put the manual together. The word manual means the mind of the maker. So they put the mind of the maker in a book and they sent it with that iPhone. Now they sent it to the dealer. The dealer get it, AT&T or wherever, the store, Best Buy, whatever, they get the box. It has a book inside of it, the mind of the maker, and it has the product. Once it gets there and somebody comes to buy it because they have an idea when they want to use it wherever they go. Now they open up the box. And when they open up the box, they see this iPhone. But here's the issue. Here's where most people get in trouble. Here's where we get in trouble. I get in trouble. You open up the box. You take the iPhone out. You take all the plugs and stuff out. You put the book as far away as you can from you, right? You put the mind of the maker as far away as you can from you. And you just start playing. You plug it up and you start playing with it. You start experimenting with this book. With this iPhone. And that's what we're doing. That's what we do in life. We do that not only with the iPhone, but we do that in life. You see, we were made, we were created, we were developed, we were designed, we were manufactured from a place called heaven. It's a place that's not here. It's a place that, okay, it's a spiritual, we can't see. Okay, wait a minute, we're talking about a place you can't see. Blow out right now. Can you see that breath? It's there, okay? And so again, we were created, we were manufactured, we were put together, we were designed, and we were sent here. We were sent here to live on this earth, not only just to live on this earth, but to operate into this earth. You see, the iPhone was not made and designed to stay at the factory. The iPhone was not made and designed to stay, okay, in a pocket of the person who made it. The iPhone was designed, made, and put together so now it can go somewhere and it can fulfill the functionality of what it was designed to do. And so now here we have the iPhone. Now we can take it out. We got all these different things. And so if we want to, we can read the mind of the maker and we can see all the functionalities. We can see all the things that it can do, all the things that it shouldn't do. And here's one of the most amazing things about these products is that in that manual, it'll tell you how to best use that phone so that you can get the best out of it. It'll say, you know what, keep it out of, it'll tell you what to do. And it'll also tell you what not to do. It'll say, hey, keep out of extreme sunlight. Why? Because it's going to heat up and it's going to turn off. And it's going to take a break. Anybody in life happen that way? You're burning on both sides of the candle. You know what I'm saying? There's so much pressure in your life. You're running this, that, and the other, all these things. And all of a sudden you just shut down. Matter of fact, you're probably watching this while you're laying down. And so it's the same thing. It says, keep out of extreme heat. It says, hey, keep it out of water. Because under water, it don't work. It's just like you. If you're just drowning in all the pressures of this life, if you're just drowning in all the different things, the rat race, the things you got to do, running after this, running after that, running after this person, running after that person, then you're going to be drowning too. And just like the phone won't work, you won't really work. And so in the manual, it has all these different things. And all these guidelines they're not here. They're not here to control you. They're here to guide you so that you can have the best experience. You can experience the peak performance of that product. Well, you see, we're here the same way. We're made and designed the same way. We were created and made and put together skillfully and wonderfully. Are we masterfully? Are we made? And after we were made, we were sent. And we're sent here. We're here on this earth so that way we can continue to live out the fullness of the very purpose and design for our lives. You see, in this manual, in this book, in this Bible, it talks about some different things of why we're here. In the very beginning of the book, it talks about why we're here, okay? And I'm going to read something that's probably one of my favorite scriptures, my favorite passages, okay? This book right here, this is my Constitution. So again, I'm going to share some different terminology and different things with you that you may or may not have heard. But again, it's going to make sense to you, okay? We live in the United States of America, for those that are watching the USA. And in the United States of America, we have what we call the Constitution. We have our Constitutional Amendments. We basically have our civil rights. And inside of our civil rights, we can read what are our rights and what the government promised to us, what we have as citizens, our rights as well. And so therefore, we understand, based in this country, this is what we go by. And this lets me know all my ideas. It lets me know in terms of what I can do. It lets me know where I'm starting from. So it's the same thing with this Bible. The Bible is not a religious book. And I think that's one of the first principles of understanding how to develop a relationship with God, is understanding that this book right here is not a religious book. This book right here is a manual. It is a manual with stories. It's a manual with inspiration. It's a manual with messages to let you know, with guidelines, to let you know what you're here for. Who are you? It answers those key questions that we all need to answer in our life. Number one, who am I? Number two, where did I come from? Number three, why am I here? Number four, what can I do? And number five, where am I going? This book answers that question. But remember, just like if you go to another country, until you swear into that country, until you basically put your hand on their constitution and you basically abide by their rules, until you become a citizen of it, you're not obligated to go by it. You're not obligated to live by its rules, its regulations. Its government is not responsible to take care of you the same way it is a citizen. So this book right here is my constitution. It is my government document, my manual from heaven. You say, wait a minute, Donovan. Somebody wrote that book. Well, of course they did. Well, you say, well, how can that happen? How can I believe? Well, it happens because every word in this book was inspired. I believe every word in this book was inspired. So what do you mean it was inspired? Have you ever been sitting around and you've been thinking about something and you just been, and out of nowhere, a thought drop into your mind? You get inspired. You're about to give a presentation, a job or something. You're going to say something to somebody or whatever it is. And all of a sudden, a poem or a song, and all of a sudden you're sitting there and you ain't thinking about it. You're not working to think about it. But out of nowhere, you just get inspired. Something just downloads into you and you write it down. Well, that's how this was made. The very same way that we get inspired with thoughts and ideas to write, it's the same exact way. So I'm grateful, and I just believe that. I'm just grateful that the words was inspired, just like I jammed to a song of mine. Hey, that was inspired. Somebody wrote a song going through the tough times in their life, and they wrote a song, and I'm like, man, I relate to that. Very much the same way. And so again, I utilize this and understanding in this book, in the first chapter, here's what it says. It says, as far as our purpose of being here, Genesis chapter 1, verse 26. Genesis meaning the beginning. It says, then God said, let us make man in our image and our likeness to be exactly like us. He said, they will reign over the fish in the sea. They will reign over the birds in the sky. They will reign over the livestock and all the animals of the earth, the small animals and the scurry ones that go across the ground. It says, so God created human beings. The word human means spirit in dirt, spirit in dirt. So God made human beings in his own image. Image means his design. Image means his idea. God made man in his own image. In the image of God, he created them. Male and female, God created. Male and female. Female came from the word fetus inside the male. Fetus inside the person. So if you got a fetus inside you, female. If you don't, male. Very, very, very simple. It says, then God blessed them. Bless means to release them. God released them. Okay, and said, be fruitful and multiply. Be fruitful mean that you are in good soil. You're in a place where you know where you need to be. You're in a place where you're not battling my identity. You're not battling your purpose. Be fruitful. That means you're planted where you need to go. And then now you can bear fruit based off of the gifts, the talents, and the things that you have. So remember, everything in terms of relating to God has to do with you being fruitful. God blessing you. God sending you. God designing you. God encouraging you. God made you in his ideal. Everything has to do with not you having to work for something, but that you are something. You see, you're not working for a relationship. You're working from a relationship. The relationship was started in the design of the mind of the maker. And you are massively, skillfully, and wonderfully made. And it says, so then God blessed them and said, be fruitful and multiply. So not just for you, then multiply. Multiply your gifts, multiply your talents, multiply your words, multiply your impact, multiply the different gifts and talents that you have, multiply it. You see, we're not meant, see, in life right now, here's a question for you. In terms of your mindset about who you are and what you can do, are you living from a place of scarcity? Are you living from a place of just average? Or are you living from a place of abundance and growth? Right now in your life, are you contracting or are you expanding? You know what I mean? Are you growing or are you shrinking? Because according to the manual and the design for your life, okay, it says, then God blessed them and said, be fruitful and multiply. He didn't say add up. You know what I'm saying? Adding up means I got to get something from here to there. But multiply, man, we jumping over leaps and bounds. That means that there's no limits to your life. That means even the things that you think logically about adding things up, adding 1 + 1 = 2. God's saying in the manual, saying the manufacturer is saying, listen, that's not how you're supposed to operate. You're supposed to operate from a place of multiplication. That means that you just jump and move, and the little things you do add so much. Okay? When multiplied, when produced, it just adds so much potential, so much growth. And so it says, then God blessed them and said, be fruitful and multiply. Fill the earth and govern it. Fill it. Fill it. Do stuff. Manage it. Your hands, your mind, your eye. We're here to manage this earth. We're here to manage this earth. He says, be fruitful, multiply, fill the earth, and govern it. You see, this book right here is not a religious book. It's a book of government. Government. And it says, and govern the earth. So that means that it's not the design. See, when you got this phone that we're on right now, and I'm always going to keep going back to make so you can practically understand it. That phone you have, it was made in the manufacturer, and then it was sent somewhere for you to use it. So you're now governing that phone. You're governing the operation of that phone. You're governing what that phone can do and what it don't do. Even though it has so much potential, it's up to you to govern it and to manage it. And so it's telling us here, fill the earth and govern the earth. We're here to govern. Listen, what we allow is what will be. What we allow in our family, it will be. What we allow in our health, it will be. What we allow in our mind, it will be. That ain't God's problem. That's not the creator's problem. You can't blame Steve Jobs because, you know what I'm saying, your phone is acting up. Because, you know what I'm saying, you can't blame Steve Jobs and then because your phone battery is dead. It's up to you to charge it up. That's why they even gave you an indicator in terms of the percentage of the battery life. It's up to you to monitor it. And so one of the first things of understanding, how do I grow? How do I develop a relationship with God? How do I strengthen my relationship with God? Well, the very first way that we do that is by accepting who you are. And that is, I am the very ideal, the image, I am the very design, I am the very creation of the most powerful manufacturer, designer, all-powerful one ever. He said, well, wait a minute, Donovan, I can't think in that terms of like the most, well, let me say this right now. Did you have anything to do with how your nose was? The color of your eyes, your ears, your height? Do you have anything to do with the color of your skin? Do you have anything to do with that? If not, by very simple of rationality and being logistical and analytical, there's something in someone that created you. And all I'm saying here is the one that created you has a purpose for you, has a design for you. believes in you more than you can ever imagine, is in love with you and love you, is jealous not over you, you know what I'm saying, but jealous for you. That basically means that the one that made you said, listen, it's like Apple saying, I am so privy to my products. I don't want you using an Android. I don't want you using T-Mobile. I don't want you using any of those other type of designs. I want you to maximize and benefit from what I created for you because I know my stuff and I want to give the best to you. You see, that's the relationship we have. That's how God, we have to all, in order to know where we're at, we got to know where we're starting. And I think today's message today is for some individuals that don't realize, man, where am I starting at? Am I starting from a place that I'm fighting for a relationship, or am I starting from a place that I'm already in that relationship? And so again, as we read this, I have to always share the beginning. Because how you get introduced to somebody, how you get introduced to something really matters. Really matters. I don't know where you're at in your relationship with God. I don't know where you're at in your spiritual faith relationship, but I want you to know a couple things about all of us. Number one, we all make mistakes. That's very much ingrained in who we are. We all fall short. It says of the glory of God. What does that mean? The glory of God means the actual perfection of design of the way we were designed. Everything has a purpose. And purpose is tied to success, which is fulfillment of purpose. That means everything that was made to do something. And when it's not doing it exactly the way it was meant to be made or to function, it's not successful. Okay? When in the sport of archery, when you have a bow and arrow, and you let that arrow go, and it goes to the bullseye, to the target. If it hits anywhere else except the bullseye, it's called a sin. S-I-N. That's where the word came from, sin. You see, we all sin. That means we all miss the mark of perfection. And so by very nature, because we are fallen, that means that because we make mistakes, because we will always make mistakes, we will constantly sin. We will constantly miss the mark, the bullseye. And the Bible tells us, it says, all men fall short of the glory of God. That means the glory is God's mindset, his imagination, his desire for you. So we all fall short of that. But does God stop there? Does he beat you up because you fall short? No. He says, I've made a way of escape. I've accepted you. He says, I have a gift for you. He said, before you ever even made a mistake, I already made the plan to make sure that you're in right standing with me. That's why in the Bible, when it says in Matthew chapter 6 and 33, and again, you have to read the whole book. You got to understand the context of it all. And when you understand it properly, the context of it all, and you have the right sunglasses on, the right perspective, the perspective of love, the perspective of government, the perspective of, wait a minute, I'm a citizen. I'm not only a citizen, I'm a child of God. I'm not only a child of God, but I'm an ambassador of God. I'm not only an ambassador of God, but I'm a king or I'm a queen. I'm here in authority managing this earth. It's when I start there with those glasses on, with that purpose glasses on, with kingdom glasses on, the dominion of a king or person of authority over an area. When I start living life from that perspective, it's only then that I feel empowered. It's only then that I feel accepted. It's only then that I feel like I'm encouraged and driven with purpose. It's only then. And so in the Bible, in Matthew chapter 6, it says this. This is Jesus when he was talking, okay? When he said, he says, despite all the things that's going on around you, don't worry about the bird. Don't worry about what to eat. Don't worry about what to do, what you're going to have. Don't worry about none of this stuff. Don't even take a thought for it. He says, wait a minute, can you add one day to your life by worrying? No. He said, but this is what I want you to focus on. He said, I want you to seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. What does that mean? It means seek first. Priority number one. When we wake up in the morning, when we get going throughout the day, what do we seek first? The kingdom of God. Well, what in the world is the kingdom of God, Donovan? I heard it, but I'm not sure. Break it down. Here's what it is, very simple form. The kingdom of God is this. The kingdom means this. The dominion of a king or person of authority over a specific area. Governing that area with its culture, its values, its morals, its principles. Okay, see, in America, we're born in a democratic republic. Okay, so therefore we mean I mean, we're established with for the people, by the people. So that means that the people make up the decisions in terms of what is right and wrong. Why? Because most of us was not born under a kingdom. And most kingdoms that we heard about, human kingdoms, are really wicked. You know what I mean? A person in charge who just thinking about him and her and themselves. And so by the very nature of where we live at, we may not understand that. But here's the power of a kingdom. Bahamas, okay? The island of Bahamas. Bahamas was once governed by Great Britain. And when Great Britain took over that island of Bahamas, what they did is when they took over that island, instead of them bringing the people from Bahamians to Great Britain when they took over it, what they did is they established themselves on that island. They sent from the big country of Great Britain, they sent about 300 people down to the little island of Bahamas. And what they did is what you call colonization. That's when you send your main authority people, okay, governing people, to an island, to a place to now infiltrate it and now teach them, the people, the rules, the regulations, okay, the laws. And so now all of a sudden that little Bahamas look exactly like Great Britain. That's why we still go there to this day. Now, granted, they wound up separating, they declared independence, but before they did, that's why when you went there, they still ride on the left side of the street, okay? They still wear, suit jackets in like 90, 100 degrees winter. They still drink tea. They still say they're pledging allegiance to the Queen. Why? Because they were colonized. They were the government was sent from one place, from the big country to the small country, to govern it. And so is the same thing for us. The Bible says that God established his life. He is in heaven. He's in the country of heaven, the big country. But then God took over the earth, established the earth according to Genesis 26. He says, hey, and let us make man in our own image and let them have dominion over the earth. So you got the big country, you got the little country. Okay, when you think about colonization and kingdom, you send people from here, from the big country, to the little country, and you give them the rules, you give them the governance, you give them the word, you give them the principles, you give them the values, and you say, okay, now I want you to manage that. We're going to still be here now, but we're going to give you the ability to have authority, to manage it. We're going to love you so much, and we're going to be partnering with you so much that we're going to allow you to serve, we're going to allow you to govern, and we're going to allow you to manage. That's why in Matthew chapter 6, when the prayer of Jesus says this, okay, then it says when Jesus prayed and when people said, teach us how to pray. How do we have a conversation with somebody we won't see? This is what he said. He said, our Father, who art in heaven, who lives in heaven, the big country, hallowed be your name. That means, man, bless your name. Like, hey, what person of authority don't want you to celebrate them, okay? Because of all they are. It's like your character, man. He says, hallowed be your name. He says, let your kingdom come. Let your kingdom come. Let the dominion of the king come on this earth the same way it is in heaven. Let it be done on this earth the same way. It says, let your will be done. Like what it is that you will for this. Let your will be done on earth the same way it is in heaven. And see, so ladies and gentlemen, what are we here for? What are we here for? We're not here just to live these couple years in our life. We're not here just to gather as much money as we can. We're not here to walk over people, run around people. We're not here to accumulate as much goods as we can. We are here because we've been sent. We've been sent to govern and manage this earth with what? Our own just simple ideas? No. We were sent here to govern this earth with heaven's culture, heaven's values, which is full of love, peace, responsibility, accountability, expansion, fruitfulness, righteousness. That's what we're here for. And when I say the word righteousness from a religious person's ears, they hear, wait a minute, I got to do all these things. No, righteousness meaning from a government standpoint, legal, I'm in right standing with God. And so you say, wait, so in Matthew 6:33, when Jesus is talking, after he gave that prayer in the same chapter, the same area, the same that he's talking about, he said, well, here's what you do now. He said, instead of seeking all these things that the people can seek, think about it. Think about your life. What are you seeking right now? What material thing are you seeking right now? What person are you seeking right now? What ideal are you seeking right now? There's a lot of things. If you're not seeking anything right now, turn on TV long enough. Something's it's gonna try to get you to seek something by influencing you through advertising and promotion. But here's what Jesus said. He says, seek first the kingdom of God, the dominion of a king. He says, and his righteousness, and his right standing with him. So seek first the dominion of the king and his righteousness. His right standing is, I am in right standing with God. And here's what that means, and here's why this is important. If I was in a courtroom and a judge says to me, Donovan, you committed this crime, you did not hit the bullseye, so therefore, because you did not hit the bullseye, because you committed sin, because you didn't hit the bullseye, here is the penalty. Let's say I'm standing in front of the courtroom and the judge is standing up there and it says, okay, Donovan, you understand all the crimes against you. You understand how you continuously miss it. You promise yourself that I'm going to do this. You turn around, you don't do it. You say you're going to do this for somebody, you don't do it. You know what I mean? You do this, you don't do that, whatever. You're living a natural life. Do you understand the consequences? Yes. So I'm standing here, judge up there, I'm here. I understand. But then all of a sudden, and then a judge says, you know what? Well, the penalty for that is death. That means a separation from me because I can't, like, I created you to be perfect, but you're not perfect. You're like, well, wait a minute. I came into this world this way. What do you mean? I'm going to blame my mom, I'm going to blame my dad, I'm going to blame somebody because sometimes I'm trying to do right, but I can't do it right all the time. I'm missing it sometimes when I'm trying, and I'm missing it sometimes when I'm not even trying. So what can I do? It can make you feel helpless. But here's the most amazing thing about the Bible. Here's one of the most amazing things about this relationship is the fact that God says, you know what, just like the judge is standing behind the podium. What's amazing in this situation for our lives, is that now the judge, instead of standing back behind there, that judge walks around and it stands right next to you. And that judge reminds you again, hey, do you understand that you messed up, that you sinned, you missed the bullseye of perfection? Yeah, I do. And as I'm sitting there and I'm feeling heavy-hearted because I'm like, man, there's nothing that I can do. All of a sudden that judge says, you know what, instead of you having to pay the penalty for the things that you did or you didn't do, I'm going to pay the penalty. And so because when the judge says, I'm going to pay this penalty, it's not that the judge says, you know what, man, I don't care if you do it or not. No, he cares. But he says, no, I'm going to pay the penalty. And I'm going to allow you now to be restored, to be right standing, to be righteous, right standing, in alignment with who I designed you to be and how you're supposed to walk. And so that's what it means to be right standing. That's what it means to be righteous. So when Jesus says, seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, the right standing that comes with the fact that God gave his son Jesus Christ the ability, he gave him the call to come and make us right. Instead of he was that judge that came around that all of a sudden, you know what, I'm going to pay this penalty so that now you can go free. You can live the life you were meant to live. You can align back up. And if and when you do mess up again, just remember that I already paid the price. It's like you go in the grocery store, man. It's like you're about to have a family cookout, right? You're about to have a family cookout and they send you to the store to go grab the meat. You grabbing the ribs, you grabbing the chicken, you grabbing the turkey, man. You grabbing all the neck bones, you grabbing everything. And you go to the counter, you got all that stuff on the counter. And you ready to check it out because you know when I check it out, I'm taking it back home and I'm going to marinate this stuff. We about to have a ball. And then before you go ahead and take the stuff out, the cashier says, okay, Mr. Darius or whomever it may be, that'll be $100. And then you go in your wallet to go pull it out because all you're thinking about is how you're going to enjoy this food, cooking it up, you're going to have a good time, play some spades, bam. But then out of nowhere, all of a sudden, when you go to pull out your card or your cash to do it, somebody comes alongside and say, you know what? You know what I'm saying? I got that right there. You know what I'm saying? Bam, I got that. I'm going to pay for that. He's like, huh? You going to pay for this? First question we do, especially as we live in our modern day society, what for? You know what I'm saying? Why are you going to do this for me? You know what I mean? What's the catch, right? What's the catch? I said, no, there ain't no catch. Ain't no catch at all. I want you to enjoy that. I want you to enjoy it. It's just very much the same way. God paid the penalty price for our sin. God paid the penalty price so that we can line up back in his righteousness. We can be back in relationship with him. And he did that because he paid the price. He paid for them ribs. He paid for them neck bones. He paid for them hamburgers and hot dogs. He paid for it. So now you can go forth and you can enjoy it. And so again, when he says in Matthew 6:33, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. And watch this. And he says to you and to me, while we're here on this earth, all these things will be added to you. all these things will be added. Think about that. When something's added to you, it doesn't mean that you're going out searching for it. It means as you're walking it out in the right mindset about your relationship, in the right mindset on what I need to do, what I'm here to do, what I'm here not to do. As you're walking out, all these things will be added to you. Somebody needs to know that God is adding to you and God is waiting to add to you. As you line up, as you're walking in righteousness. Righteousness doesn't mean you got to do everything right. That doesn't mean that. You're in right standing because of what God did. When God gave his son over 2,000 years ago to be the penalty payment, it's like somebody paying you, not even just bail, somebody taking the penalty and saying you go free as if it never happened again. That's where the term justification comes from. Just if I'd never committed the crime. Justified. You and I, we've been justified. And so the message today as I get ready to close where it talks about how do I develop and grow in my relationship with God? It starts by understanding and knowing, who am I? Who am I? Number 2, where did I come from? Number 3, what am I here for? Why am I here? Number 4, what can I do now that I'm here? Number 5, where am I going? The answer to that question, who am I? You're a child of God. You're made in God's image. You're his perfect design. God is the manufacturer and design. He made you perfectly in his design. You're not only his child, but you're also an ambassador. That means you have the full right to represent your government wherever you go. The government that you have, yes, it is a strong government. It has rules, regulations, but at the end of the day, it's built in love. Because again, as a parent, what parent does not discipline their children? What parent does not tell their children do this or don't do that? What parent does not look ahead of that child and understand that there's some woes and some situations over there that they may need to avoid? What parent doesn't do that? Only the parents I know that love their children and understand that this is part of life are the ones that equip their children and understand I have to give them a balance of love and affection. Why? Because guess what? Nobody loves discipline, but everybody loves the reward that discipline brings. And so starting out to say, hey, who am I? I'm a child of God. I'm an ambassador. Okay? I'm also a brother. Okay? I'm a brother to Christ. That means, guess what? I don't have to work for this cat. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to work for this. I just have to be. I have to do. I just got to be. Be a man of God. Be a Christian. Be a kingdom citizen. Be the person I was designed to be. Be it in my mind first so I can have it in my life second. And so again, understanding who am I? Understanding where I come from. Guess what? Hey, I came from a place of abundance. I came from a place that I can't see. I was sent here. I'm sent here to colonize this earth. I was sent here. I came from the manufacturer's plan. I came from the place of heaven. I never seen it. I never been there. You know what I'm saying? I never been there. But guess what? I look at life enough and it solely makes sense. It may or may not make sense to you at this moment. But understanding this, you're watching me on something that came from somewhere. And you have no idea all the little intricacies that came into it. Well, just know this. And as I walk out of my life, I believe that I came from heaven. Heaven is a country. Heaven is a real place. It's invisible. I can't see it. Hasn't been there. Just like people in Bahamas. The people in Bahamas, when they was under the rulership of Great Britain, they heard about Great Britain. They knew it was a big place. They heard about all the different rules. Why? Because they were governed with an instructional manual that told them about it. They had history of it. They had all this stuff, but they had never been there in their life. And so again, by the very fact that they had never been there, the fact that they had never touched it, never saw it, should that justify the fact that they're not believing it? No. It just means they hadn't been there. And so therefore, why am I here? Where did I come from? I came from a place called of heaven, a country of heaven. And I'm here on this country of earth. So I'm here to govern it with the governing, with the principles, the values, the culture, everything of heaven. That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here for. I have a purpose. The next one is, hey, why am I here? Well, the Bible tells us, my instructional manual, my governmental constitution tells me that I'm here to be fruitful and I'm here to multiply. I'm here to govern this earth. I'm here to manage it. I'm here to be inspired in what to do and be led on what I do. You know what I'm saying? To listen from my command center, to listen, you know what I'm saying? To listen and to adhere to the very principles of peak performance and how I'm supposed to manage this earth and to do it. Doesn't mean that I'm always going to feel like doing it. It just means that I have to be led, I have to be listening, I have to be led, and I have to do it. But in doing it, it allows me to expand, to be fruitful, to multiply, to bring out the best, to help, to encourage, to do all the things that heaven's government, heaven's culture, adheres for me to do. Then the next one says, okay, after it says, hey, who am I? Where I come from? Why am I here? What can I do? Well, here's one of the most amazing things when you think about what you can do. Most people have never even tapped into their potential. You know what potential is? It's untapped ability. You haven't tapped into it yet. Eyes haven't seen, ears haven't heard, neither enter into the heart, the mind, the deep understanding of mankind and other people what's in store for you. The Bible says, and our constitutional document says that all things are possible with God. So that means that I got to partner up. If I'm trying to just do it by myself, it ain't going to work. But it says all things are possible with God, with the Creator. When I line up, to what it is, the design of that creation, anything is possible. Anything is possible. That phone we got on our phone, that phone we're listening to this on or watching this on, that phone can reach all across, not just here to the next door neighbor. That phone can reach across the country. It can reach across continents. It can reach across where you're like, how does it happen? It can happen. Anything is possible for you. There are no limitations except the limits you put on yourself. Except the limits you put on yourself. And the last question, where am I going? Where am I going has everything to do with not when you die, but in this life right now. What's the vision that you have for your life? What is the inspiration that was given to you to lead and guide your life? What is the assignment that you have on your life that you're here to fulfill? Here's one of the most hard facts in reality. Whether you realize that you're here to manage this earth and you're here with a great purpose, that purpose mandate is still for you and only on you. I started this message today talking about in life, there are no imitations of people. There are no duplications of people. There's only imitations. That means nobody can duplicate what you're supposed to do. Nobody can clone and do exactly what you're supposed to do. Nobody can be you but you. So if you say and you make a decision that you're just going to live your life, on a scale of 1 to 10, living at a 5, in terms of production and effectiveness and growth and expansion in areas of your life, your health, your wellness, your life, your family, your relationships, if you decide that, that's totally on you. You have a right to do it. But my encouragement to you today is being a former 10-year NFL player and understanding that my mindset was, listen, I'm out this thing, to really express and to live this dream, to live inspired and to inspire others by my actions, by my words, by my deeds, my promises. So it's the same thing for you. So when I answer the last question, when it says, well, where am I going? My question to you, where are you going? Where are you going? When's the last time you sat with a pad and a piece of paper, a pen and a piece of paper, and you wrote down the things you see and hear? When you wrote down your vision for your life, where are you going? What are you doing? Where are you at now? Are you satisfied where you're at now? If not, and hopefully you're not satisfied, you see yourself going and growing somewhere. Write it down. And after you write down the end, begin with the end in mind, then I want you to write down all the steps that you think, that you believe it takes to get there. And then what I want you to do after you write down, begin with the end in mind, the vision of what it looks like. Then after you write down all the things that you brainstorm, what you think it's going to take to get there, what do you think? Don't worry about if you can do it or not. Don't worry about it. Then I want you to go to somebody who's already been there, or somebody who has the knowledge on how to get there. And then you allow that person to look at it. And here's what the power of that. Because now when that person looks at it, they're going to see all the things you have on there. And then now they'll be able to add to it specific steps that you may be missing or specific things that you're going to need. And that's why in this life, we're interconnected and we're interdependent. We're interconnected and interdependent. We're interconnected to a greater purpose. We're interconnected by a greater purpose. We're all sent here for the purpose of fulfilling what it is that we need to do. We're here. And the second thing is we're interdependent. That means we need each other. When you write down the vision that you see, and you write down all the steps that you think it takes, and then you go to a person who has experience and wisdom and understanding and insight in that area, and you give it to them. The interdependence says, now I'm depending on them to fill in the blanks. And as I humble myself and depend on them, what I have on paper has a greater opportunity to come to life. Because now we are working together. Listen, today's message was, how do I develop and how do I develop and or grow my relationship with God? I hope this has been encouraging to you, encouraging message to you, to let you know it starts with your identity. It has to start with you knowing who you are, where you're from, why you're here, what can you do, and where are you going? And so listen, man, if you like these messages, I encourage you to continue to go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel, okay? Hit the notifications button on Instagram, whether it's Instagram, Facebook. So we're broadcasting live right now on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all that right now. So again, want to give you guys some direction in terms of where to follow me for more other encouraging messages on health, wellness, business, personal development, professional development, you name it. As a professional life strategist, I'm fortunate to get a chance to travel around and do a lot of speaking for companies, organizations, coming and motivate their team, their staff on mindset development, championship culture, peak performance. I mean, you name it. Again, and then also I'd like to provide this opportunity for me to coach you, to walk with you through social media. So again, by adding comments, reaching out to me if you need it, so that way we can all get encouraged. Okay. So again, I can have the greatest gift in the world, but if you don't reach out to receive it, it does you no good. And so if you have any questions or comments, definitely feel free. What do you think about the message today? What stuck out to you in this message today? What was the message that you heard? What are you willing to do that you didn't do before? What do you need to do more of in your life right now based off of what you just heard? What do you need to do less of in your life now that you heard this message? Okay, I'd love to hear your comments. Want to read it as well. So listen, you guys have an awesome day today. Don't forget to share this message, okay, on your page. Don't forget to hit the subscribe buttons, okay, to sign up for the notifications, all that good stuff, so that you can get inspired. Also, last thing I will put this little plug out there. If you have not gotten the book that I wrote last year, Next Level Motivation, Principles for Living Life to the Fullness, definitely pick it up. It's a great short read for you, helping you understand how to discover your purpose, how to live your life from your values and your goals and your vision, how to love yourself first, and then Principles for Living Life to the Fullness. So again, you can check that out on Amazon. But listen, I really appreciate it. You guys have an awesome and wonderful day. And listen, I'll talk to you guys on the other side. Talk to you later. Peace. Do